Good morning, North America. Buenos dias, South America. Bom dia. And for Poland, dzień dobry. Goeiemiddag for South Africa. And welcome here with the presentation for the face impact location for the X3. I'm Henri Johnson, Alex Trujillo. So Alex will be helping me here. We'll be talking about a very exciting new feature that we are bringing out for the X3. And we'd also give you some specific examples of some data that we recorded. And we will give you the opportunity to ask some questions. And we hope that this will be a good introduction for you because our software team has indicated that within the next sprint or two, they will be able to deliver us the final polished product in the form of FlightScope Golf app for the X3 containing the impact location. That means a sprint, normally about 2 weeks. So I've been in this business a long time. I don't want to be positive or negative about the outcome, but I trust our developers are going to do their very best to deliver on time, and that by, say, the end of this month, we can release to you all the FS Golf with the impact location as a feature. So let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
So the first thing that we need to talk about is that setup and calibration. Okay, now there are certain requirements, as always. We get close to magic, but this is still reality. We need to have certain conditions for the system to work. I'm not going to go too deep. We're going to have a very specific webinar to show you the detailed setup calibration of the system when you're going to start using the software. For today, I'm just going to give you a brief overview and a flavor of where this is heading. So the first thing is, like we are sitting here in very bright lights, you don't even know how bright this is. It's like police file, I guess. I'm not sure how it is, but maybe this is how it is.
Yeah, it's pretty bright.
Anyway, so we need lighting. So the X3 system was designed with the fusion capability. What does that mean? It means that we are using the radar, the full radar capability, inclusive of the built-in image processing capability with a camera. You can call it optical enhancement if you want. You can call it anything you want, but we have a very, very nice patent on this, which covers the use of radar data complemented by image processing and vice versa. We will give you the link to that patent at some time in the future. You can have a look at it, and that covers actually the technology. So what does that mean? It means that we are going to use the built-in camera to support the radar to determine the face impact location. Now, this is amazing how it works, but we need enough light. Okay, so we've designed the system that it will actually tell you if you have insufficient light. Okay, but it's still good to know that you need about, I would say, at least 300 lux. Lumens, it's not the same thing.
No?
But anyway, we'll give you the details in the app, and it's going to tell you, hey, you don't have enough light. So normally, if you can see it really, really well indoors, then it's fine. Outdoors, normally it won't be a problem. Yeah. So lighting is really important. Now, the setup and calibration after that, the two items that I'm going to deal with would be the fact that we can actually define the head size. Why is that important? It's important because we need to indicate where on the face you hit, you had the impact. Now, if you don't have the correct dimensions on the, shall we say, the animated image, then of course it won't be realistic. So you have the option to increase the width or the height or decrease it, both sides, to get close to your particular club that you're using, whether it's driver, iron, or whatever. So that's the first thing that I'd like to point out. So there I just showed it. So in the previous image there, you'll see that there's a little box around the club head, and in the next one, you'll see it actually became a little bigger. So you can actually use the buttons at the bottom there, and you can plus or minus the width or the height and get to as close as possible to the club head that you are using, so that when we produce the result for face impact, it will match very closely what you will get when you put some spray on, and to actually see, that this is really working for you. Okay, so there's another thing that you need to do. Sometimes because of, the actual head, how it looks to the camera, and you need to possibly do some adjustments. So if you hit a few shots and you see, hey, my location is slightly offset from where, the system is actually hit, or the ball's hit on the club face, to where we are showing it, you can improve the accuracy by adjusting the mark on the ball. How do we do that? So it's like this. You can actually say, hey, I want to adjust, I want to calibrate the impact position, okay? And therefore, in this case, I've already moved it now, so we've moved the impact location a little bit, and that's pretty neat. So now you should be all set up. If you have a club head that it's this big, but we have an image in the software that is this big, it's of course not going to be realistic. You're not going to like what you see. Therefore, you need to be as close as possible to your reality, which is your club or iron. Okay. So let's look at the next one here. So again, you can move that around, and the position in terms of location on the face, the dimensions will change for the location. So let's get into a few specific examples. So we are fortunate, we have a very good golfer here. I'm glad that he didn't join the tour, Duncan, and he hit some shots for us. I looked at the videos that Jordan put together for us, and if I had that swing, man, that would be wonderful. So thank you, Duncan, for hitting some shots for us. So here's the first one we are going to show you here is a 7-iron with a center hit. Okay. Now, I want to talk about center hit. What does that mean? It sounds simple, but we're going to have some interesting discussions in the webinars to come about the center of gravity, the sweet spot, and what does it mean? How does it affect your actual ball flight? There's going to be some very interesting things that come up. And then how do you use the impact location with the rest of your data to either improve your student or to understand what actually happened? I've heard so much. I walked with Bryson DeChambeau with you as well so many times, and there were some shots that he couldn't even figure out why it happened off his driver. But I've got a much better understanding why things happen, and we will be sharing that with you in the webinars to come. So let's go on and talk about center hit. Center hit for the moment is close to the center of the club face as defined by the manufacturer. Okay, we'll get into that later, not today. So here was a nice 7-iron shot, center hit, and the result from the FlightScope X3 was right there. It was actually on the center as well, and we have some ball flight there, and I wanted to show you there. We actually have some proof of what actually happened. We took some foot spray. Okay, I'm not sure who uses that here, but we found some foot spray, and we used that on the face. We don't use face tape. That's a no-no. If you use face tape, everything changes. You don't want to use face tape. That's a bad thing to do. You want to use some spray that's got a minimum effect in terms of the friction coefficient on the face, okay? So that you get a pretty realistic end result. So in this case, we did use the spray, and every time we wiped it off and sprayed it again, and there we have the proof of this shot. Okay, so next shot, okay. This is a toe hit from a 7.9. Some of the slides, by the way, I left open. I have some video clips of the actual shot, but I'm using Google Drive at the moment, and if I want to show the video on the webinar, it's a little slow, so I decided not to do that. We can make that available to you if you want to. Alex, you can maybe, if you guys want, type in, send us an email. We can send you some of these materials, and you can have a look for yourself. Okay, so here's a toe hit, and let's see what that did. Okay, so it's towards the toe. It's not, for me, that's not a toe hit. For me, that's it's a center hit. But for Duncan, that's towards the toe. Okay, I'll give him that. But it definitely influences the spin axis. It also influences the smash factor. In other words, how efficient is your momentum transfer from club to ball. So that's important. Okay, so that was the empty slide. This is a low center hit, so in the center of the face, but low, okay? We're going to have some interesting discussions in the next webinars about these particular shots, these ones that cause some interesting dynamics in the ball flight. So I won't go into that at the moment. I know most people already know that if you hit it low in the face, you get a higher spin, okay? Your efficiency also goes down in terms of your smash factor, the ball speed. So that's the actual image of the face, and also the image on the face location in the software. Pretty good. Okay, so let's look at one above the center. Okay, 7.9 above the center. So for me, that's again very center, but okay. So let's look at the details there. I mean, as I say, for me, that's very center. For Duncan, that's high off center. That's okay. This is a 7 iron towards the heel. Okay, I can see that's a heel shot. So that's how that comes out. Okay, and let's just get further on here. So now we're going to get to the big boys, the driver.
This
So
is where it can get interesting.
yes. Now, a driver and an iron obviously are very different. And there are reasons for that. Very, very interesting reasons. And it has to do with the fact that one of the reasons is that the center of gravity sits a little ways more backwards because of the geometry of the club and how it was designed and the mass distribution and so on. And now you have the face relatively in front of the center of gravity, and depending on all the other factors there are, and I'll just leave it there are torque forces involved. There are always torque forces involved. And we will discuss that again in one of the webinars. I've got some very interesting information to share with you, and we'll break it down to make it easy, give you specific examples so that it's understandable and that you can take it away and use it, okay? So let's look at this particular shot there. If I can hit that shot, I would be very happy, repeatably. Well done, Duncan. Again, showing us the club with the spray and then also the image of the software. Okay, so next one is a driver with a toe hit. I'm not sure if that was the toe hit. I might actually have my there's the toe hit actually. It is a little bit towards the toe. For me, again, I can see it's towards the toe, but man, I can give you a toe hit on the first tee.
I can too.
Then we don't look good when we hit those. So, and again, that's I think that was a short driver toe hit. Let's go over here. This is a driver low center hit, so just below the center of the club. And of course here, you can immediately see here, the spin actually went a little up there, well, quite a bit, okay? So huge variance in spin when you start moving away from the, let's call it the sweet spot for the moment. I think it's fair enough to use the sweet spot. Okay, so this is a driver towards the heel. Again, for me, that's towards the heel. I can hit a good heel shot for you. Not very good when you start hitting it off towards the heel. You're going to get most likely a fade. Things just go bad when you go there. Okay, so there's the shot, and we already showed that.
I think this is going to be a great tool to really show people how much gearing happens on the face when you have off-center hits. Because it's, obviously we've known about it in the industry, but now you'll have a visual representation of, I struck it in the heel, my ball cut or sliced, and that's probably why. Now, depending on the driver, it can be a little bit or it can be a lot.
And that's one of the things, you're right, absolutely, Alex. And when people talk about gear effect, normally they refer to shot shape in terms of fade or draw. Mm-hmm. As a result of off-center hits.
Right.
But we're going to show you in some of the following webinars gear effect not only for shot shape, yes, we'll do that, and it's not only towards the toe and the heel, it's actually also to do with, and I'll leave that with you to think about, it also has to do with your horizontal swing plane. So if you are shorter and you have a flatter swing and you have a toe up, and especially with the driver, things change. We all know if you adjust your lie angles on the club, toe down, what happens?
Typically, right.
Yeah,
toe
fade.
up.
And toe up,
hook.
Hook for a righty, okay? Now, if you dynamically deliver the club with the toe up, even if you had it fitted for it, whatever, toe, flat, you're going to also do the same thing. And therefore, your swing plane and the dynamic, not only loft, but lie angle, dynamic lie angle at impact will also influence the torque that's actually applied to the shot shape in terms of the spin axis. But there's more to come in terms of the gearing effect. I want to just give you a heads up that gearing effect, it's a torque vector in mathematical terms, scientific terms. And the torque vector is also responsible for what the spin will result in finally of your face. And that's a very interesting subject. Okay, so.
Henri, I'm not sure if you have the examples, but we're going to display it in two different ways. We're going to display the single shot for that club, and then we're also going to have a really nice heat map of kind of where they're striking it on that particular club.
Absolutely, yeah. So for today, I just kept it simple, but you're absolutely right. So here is a single, what you're seeing there is a single impact location, and after a session, you can actually click the display and it will produce a heat map for your session for that particular club, and the heat map basically will show you the intensity. It's like the hurricane that we had through here. If you see that very deep color in the middle, that's that's hot. And we had that here in Florida, as you know. But so the heat map for the session will then also show on your club how the distribution was for your impact locations. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, so this was a driver high center hit, and I think I'm going to conclude with that. We've got about 5 minutes for questions, and I've also got one more thing to share with you before we close up, but let's hear from Tyler. Do we have any questions there?
Yes, we do. Thanks, Henry. So in general, we've gotten this question a few times, but what software pieces will the Face Impact be added to?
All right, so we're starting with the FlightScope Golf application. We are also launching finally, we're launching a new PC application. Windows, if I say PC, personal computer with Windows operating system. We're launching a new, and I would say a fantastic new version of the PC software. And when did the developer say we're going to finish on that?
Soon.
Okay.
I don't like to give dates.
All right, so we
but
will
it is
check
very
back.
imminent.
It is
imminent.
imminent. I've seen some things. The thing is, with a product like that, we need to do a lot of testing.
Yes.
We don't want to frustrate our users, but it is imminent, and it's going to be. I mean, people will like it. We had many workshops to look at all the good aspects of previous applications, like the VX app, even the old PC application, so on, video application. And we are trying to use the best features, in these new applications. Okay, other questions?
Yeah, just on the lighting requirements. So maybe just explain a little bit why the lighting is important, and maybe reference the outdoors on cloudy days, things like that.
Yeah, that's good question. So I'll put it like this, that I think even on a cloudy day outdoors, you will have
more than enough.
You will have more than enough lights. When we did our tennis line call system in Poland, I remember we went from dusk to dawn, and we couldn't even see the ball with the phantom cameras with the International Tennis Federation anymore, and our system was still working because it could handle those low light conditions. And that was like, almost dark. So yeah, outdoors will work even on a cloudy day. Indoors, you need nice, sufficient light over the area of interest. What is that? Your hitting location. That's what's important. So you don't need to light up the whole place. You need to have some focus lighting. Hopefully, kind of distribute it nicely. And these days, the lighting, it's not expensive. You can buy LED lighting on Amazon. For studios that are really, really affordable. You don't need these really heavy studio lighting of the old days anymore.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the whole room. It just needs to be that specific area. And I know when we were doing the testing, we purchased, is it a lumen meter or a lux meter?
Yes.
I think we got it on Amazon for, I don't know, $30. But the unit and the software will indicate to you whether you have enough lighting or not. So if you don't have enough lighting, it's going to tell you, hey, insufficient lighting, and therefore
we will not produce the impact location, because we do require both the camera and the radar to see it at the same time in order to produce your impact location. Okay, another questions?
Okay, next here, one from Axel is, do you have to recalibrate it once for every club or every session?
Look, I would say that I would calibrate all my clubs once and get it done. Get my sizes in so that my clubs are done. So if I choose my 7-iron, I've already done my sizing, that's done. The calibration of, whether it's small offset, it'll depend on your appetite for absolute accuracy to make a small adjustment. That's the incremental adjustment. That's just a fine adjustment. Most people wouldn't actually use that. I think it will be the connoisseurs that will be using that. But you don't need to do it for every session. Absolutely not. But it is important to remember that the club sizes differ. You will get irons. If you take, say, a Callaway, whatever the model is, and you compare that to a Titleist, it's totally different when it comes to the width and the height. So you need to at least do your dimensioning of your clubs that you're going to use.
Okay, yeah, I think that kind of leads into the next question that I've seen a couple of times. Are there any plans to have a standard set of dimensions for the most popular club brands and models?
Yeah, so we've basically averaged out the dimensions of like a player iron and a driver, but there's so many variables. I mean, there's so many clubs out there. So that is why we introduced the adjustment feature, so that you can manually adjust your heads on the software.
That's good, but I also think other half of that question is, are we going to have a database available that you just click on and you know, it's got the dimensions already built in? It's possible. I am not convinced at the moment that having a huge database for the universe of all clubs, that the user experience will be easy, because now you have to drill down, search for that club, find it. I think the simple and easy way is just quickly measure your clubs and make sure that you are close enough for your purpose, and that should be good enough.
Yep.
Okay, question here from Mike. Do you have to spray the club face after every shot?
No, you don't have to spray the club face. We've done that for you during our development, and the only reason why we sprayed the club face for some of these pictures like that would be to have evidence to say, hey, this looks accurate. It's representative. That's what we did, because we had to spray them every time when we hit them, so that we could see and verify. But you don't have to do that. If you feel that there's something off, you can use spray and maybe send it to support and say, hey, I hit this thing on the toe, here it is, but the system says it's on the heel. Whatever. That will, then we can look at it, but it's going to be most likely not happening.
Yeah, the whole purpose of this is so that you don't have to.
You don't have to do it.
No, nothing to your club.
Any more?
Okay, yes. So are there any plans for the impact location data to be integrated into any of the simulation software, such as GS Pro, E6 Connect?
Okay, so it's going to, of course, already be built into our system development kit, which we make available to our partners like E6 and the Golf Club and GS Pro. We need to talk to them and see how their schedules look like in terms of integration. It's quite technically possible. It will depend on those companies, simulator companies, what their appetite is and how they can fit it into their workload. Yeah.
Maybe two more here. So can we send a report of impact location to the student?
Oh yeah, that was one of the main things. Even Madeleine asked that. I remember that when we started out and we saw these beautiful, renders, and I know that some of the salespeople were really impressed by the heat map. Can we send that to the client? Yes, absolutely yes. Yeah, you can share, directly to your friends, to your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. If the developers didn't hear this already, they hear it again today. But no, it's true. We will be able to share it.
Especially with FlightScope,
Oh, yeah.
it's built in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, question from Mike, who submitted before the session. Will the face impact feature be available for existing X3s or only new ones? And will there be an extra charge?
Okay, now that is a very, very good question. So we do have there are a certain number of older units, very old units, that will need a small but important upgrade here at the office. We can do it here. We don't know what that's going to cost. We'll make it as affordable as possible and as painless as possible, because we want you all to be using this feature. But I would say most of the X3s out there will be able to do it, but there will be some of the old folks, not people, but X3s out there that will not be ready to take this software on, and we need to make an adjustment, and that we can only do here.
Yeah, and for the feature itself, once we update the application, then they'll do the update on the app, and then they will have the face impact available.
So a question from my side on behalf of the clients: will our X3 clients, will they have to pay for this feature?
Negative, no.
it's positive. They won't have to pay for it.
That's right.
So yeah, so the good news here is that all our X3 customers, you are not going to have to pay for an upgrade in terms of the software. Only if you have an old system, and we will be able to determine from serial numbers whether your system is capable or not. So we will publish that so that you don't have to, find this out by trial and error.
Yeah.
So can you take that on, and Tyler, and maybe just coordinate with the client base so that they know preemptively if their system is capable or not?
Yeah, we will notify them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one more question, and then I just want to add one more thing, and then we're done.
Okay, yeah, I think the last question we have is the VX app going to be updated with impact location?
Okay, so the plan was and still is to move all the good features from the VX app into the FlightScope Golf app, and it's getting very close. So there is a remodeling in process for the FlightScope Golf app that will contain all the great features that the VX app actually had, and all the evolution that happened with that application. So the answer is that we are not going to do that in the VX app. We are going to rather move all the great features from the VX app into the FlightScope Golf app, which is currently in process, and it's one of the most important tasks that the developers are working on, so that we can finally deprecate the VX app and you will not even notice the difference. So the answer is no. Okay, is that it? Okay, so I want to just quickly tell you about another edition that's coming out. This has been coming a long time, and this is the Titleist RCT ball. The ball will be added in this new software as well, and it will be handled. So if you select the RCT ball, it will work near perfect in terms of spin, and for indoors you don't need to add an additional dot or a dot on the ball at all. It's been a long time coming, and we worked with Titleist. I mean, they are extremely pleased with our results, with all our systems, and I think everybody will find this an extremely valuable way to go. Also, it kind of is good because you're going to use a good quality ball as well, and it's great because you just put it down and it's going to measure the spin for you without adding the dot.
No more dots.
Okay, so Alex, any last words from you for our X3 clients?
No, we've been really excited about this update for a long time. We've been working on it for a long time. I've been testing it as well as Duncan, and we've been very happy with it. And I think you guys will find that the accuracy is it's very, very good. So we're excited to get it done and get it wrapped up into you guys, and continue on to the next endeavor.
And keep an eye out for the webinars to come. We will have more frequent webinars for our X3 clients, and we hope to deliver you some real value.
Yeah, we're gonna put a schedule together and get it out. And if you guys have any ideas, or you guys want something in specific for a webinar on a subject, just email us at sales@flightscope.com, and we will add it to the rotation.
And we always get good, I would say, suggestions from our users, but we want to implement a system for our developers that's based on a voting mechanism. So, we will publish the requests from users, the ones that at least make the cut. Certain ones we're not going to, there could be some crazy ones which we're not going to include, but we will filter the requests to, I would say, reasonable requests. Unreasonable ones will be thrown out, and I'm not going to define that. You get some crazy things sometimes. But generally speaking, we get great requests from our users. Now, we will have a voting system on that, and then you all can vote, and we will then prioritize our development pipeline to take on the most wanted features first. How's that?
Sounds great.
Okay. With that, Alex and everyone, Jordan, Tyler, and everyone that helped Duncan, Thank you very much, and all our developers, thank you for the hard work that's gone in here. I know, in Stellenbosch, South Africa, our team there has, they've really done a great job on the scientific part of it, and then in Poland, our office there, they've been working on the apps relentlessly, and we've been giving them a hard time to get it done, and we hope to be in more regular contact now with you and to deliver you all these good things. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, guys.